What's up, people? It's Alexander, obviously. So, subject of this Periscope, I was asked a question, per usual, from a gentleman, Indomnita Virtus, I believe it was, and I didn't feel like typing out a long response, so I told him watch Periscope. Question was, what's your story, bro? Is how he phrased it. How did you become you and achieve all you've achieved? Here's my story, man. And my story is not that interesting. I grew up in Southern California. I went to high school. I believed all the usual blue pill social conditioning shit you believe about women, college, society, getting a degree, a job will appear to you, XYZ. I was always skeptical. I was always very, very skeptical. There's a lot of things I questioned, but I wasn't really taught any differently. I came from a family that was middle class and believed the same thing in the American dream. So, like you are raised with what you believe. Went to college, Great Recession happened, went to college for a stupid liberal arts degree, and, well, it was an enjoyable experience on certain levels, but dance, performance, and choreography, the absolute epitome of a liberal arts degree that doesn't serve any real purpose in the real world. Got my liberal arts degree, had a plan to be a professional ballet dancer. That was my big goal in life at the time. Got very, very injured, got into personal training because I didn't really have anything else to do. I had no vision for my life at all. Did personal training for 9 years, in the process of, let us say, approximately a decade, so to speak, from 18 to 26, 27, 28 now. I did my own thing. I did exactly what I wanted to do, and I always lived life on my terms, but I had no focus. I had no real direction. I don't have any grand achievements to speak of. All of my mistakes I've learned from failure. My big marker in life was going to jail when I was 19 for 2 months, and that kind of wisened me up that I needed to be a man. That was probably the turning point to me being red-pilled, so to speak. So that's my life. That's my story. When I talk to you guys, when I talk about mistakes and failures and outcomes and the necessity to create direction, create systems, analyze yourself, ask questions, those are all the same things that I've had to go through myself. Those are all the things I've had to go through myself. That's why I talk about it. I've worked with a lot of clients in a lot of industries because of the nature of my work, where I've realized that majority of human beings, they're alive today at any age, especially adults, especially kids, especially everybody struggles with what to do with themselves. Everybody struggles with what they want to do. Everyone struggles with the question of what they want. What do you want? What do you want to be? What are you trying to turn into? And I do my best to help them answer that for themselves, and I do the best to answer that for myself. That's the story. Whether that's interesting to people or not, perhaps. I have things about my background, mixed race, come from essentially what was an arts background, got into fitness, XYZ. I don't find myself to be that interesting, but I've lived a lot. I've had a lot of experiences that have taken me to different places around the world, around different people, and that's what I share. Whether that's compelling or not, that falls upon you guys. Part of the reason I don't talk about myself personally that often is because I don't want to make it about me. What I do, what I've done, the career I've had is about the people that I work with. What did you do to go to jail? I stole things that were not mine, knowingly, because I had a very bad attitude and a very bad set of values at the time. And then I got caught, and I gave myself up because I realized I was acting against myself in a harsh moment of realization that I could not keep living how I was living. So I had to exchange and unmake myself to learn a new set of values. And that was a very arduous and difficult and, probably what most would consider mentally painful process. That is why I believe people can change, because I did change, amongst other things. And I have seen people change over the course of my life, and it's not easy, but it is entirely doable if you believe it. Any questions on any of that? And hopefully the gentleman actually watches this. Ever taken drugs? Yeah. Recreational drugs? Oh, hell yes. Do you want stories to go along with the drugs? I got stories, but if you're a young adult today and you have a sense of adventure and flair, you're probably going to be doing some recreational drugs at some point. I suppose maybe the question is, am I a drug user? No. I've tried different drugs. They provide you different experiences. So, they do. Your point from then on, or your choices from then on, well, it depends on if you have an addictive personality or not. I don't have an addictive personality, so it was never something that was, fatalistic for me, the way it would be for some people. I tried things once, Interesting experience. Okay, that's what it does. I'm good. Golden diet rules. I don't have diet rules. I discuss nutrition, and the way I feed myself and the way I advise people to feed themselves is based upon principles, not based on rules. Thanks for sharing. You're welcome. You guys are welcome. Drink alcohol regularly. No. At one time I used to drink more often. I've always been a social drinker, but I very, very rarely drink now. Why is your body language so A1? Not really sure what that stands for. A1 alpha? Not sure. Dietary principles. Well, dietary principles are based upon just basic human biology. Your body needs carbs, protein, fat. It needs them in certain amounts. Your body needs essential nutrients. It needs them in certain amounts. If you want to have optimal health, eat in such ways to optimize your natural functionality in accordance with your lifestyle. Get enough of the right things. Don't put bad things into your body. And those are the principles. They are adaptive. They're not a set of hard and fast rules. You know, or as I often say, eat like an adult. Thanks for the periscope. You're welcome. De nada, de nada. Anything else, ladies and gentlemen? What kind of car? A Hyundai Elantra Touring. It is a very utilitarian vehicle. I love it. Seats 4? No, actually, take it back. It seats 5, and it gets excellent gas mileage. And it has a lot of cargo room. So it's worked out well. And it's paid off, too. This month, actually. So. Why is your body language on point? A1 means peak level. Because I'm a dancer, and I've trained as a dancer. And I've always been very, very cognizant of my physicality, and I have actively, conscientiously developed it over a period of many, many years. Henceforth, there's nothing that I do movement-wise, nor speaking-wise, nor this general physical-wise that is random at all. Everything's intentional. As such, it is usually pretty obvious to people that I have I used to say, a command of presence. I don't necessarily think about it consciously, but it's an unconscious competence at this point. When did you start dancing? When I was 15. That's when I started, I guess I'd say, taking it seriously. And I'm 28 now. Do you perform ballet in public? I will be in a few weeks. My return to ballet, since ballet is still the only thing I've ever loved, ever in life, purely. It took a long time, so I had to recover from injury. The best thing you do for people is be brutally honest. Try to be. I had a lot of injuries, which took me out of dancing for about 7 years, and then I managed to rehab all of them and get back to a level of physical health that I believed I'd be able to dance again, and I have been able to. Not at the level that I want yet, but I think with another year, 2 years of training, with many years of training, I'll get to where I would, perhaps have some sense of satisfaction. So yeah, that's been my operative goal. So all the online business that I've created for myself, all the content, all the vision, all the personal goals I have, they're all essentially foundational to allow me to dance at my leisure, at my pleasure, and to my fullest extent. Have you ever had to drop clients due to their lack of motivation? Usually they drop off themselves. Honestly, I've never fired people. When people lack motivation and you're, kind of hounding, harassing them to, show up, they'll avoid you, or they'll stop showing up, and they'll tell you that, now is not a good time, at this stage in their life because training, priorities, time, they don't have enough time. So I've never had to fire anyone though. I just missed a whole bunch of questions because I was not paying attention. Or I was speaking and not trying to read at the same time. Anything else, ladies and gentlemen? What significance does a vacation have to you? Oh, that's embarrassing. Sorry, just there's a cop that just had 3 kids handcuffed on the sidewalk. They did not look happy. How do you train your neck? With neck exercises. I have a podcast on that. Listen to it. Vacation. I really don't take vacations, honestly. Vacations are something that I don't have a job, so to speak. I'm essentially I work for myself, so I've never had to take vacation since I'm always working, and plus I enjoy what I do. So I suppose if you work a 9 to 5. At one time I did work. One time I had I worked for an employer. I worked for corporations, so I did have times when I would take many vacations. But I've never, I guess, had a proper vacation, the sensibility of taking a week off, 2 weeks off, going somewhere. In that sense. Have you always lived in California? Lived in India, and I've also lived in Florida. Anything else, ladies and gentlemen? Give it a minute. Yes, no, maybe so, folks. I love that phrase. What values do you hold most high? The 7 virtues. So, 7 virtues being, if you're familiar with theology, I guess you'd say. Do you have kindness, discipline, temperance, prudence, chastity. What are the other 2 I'm forgetting? Charity, and the last one would be, I guess you'd say, patience. So go with those. Do you invest your money? Yeah, I do. That's probably a question as to what do I invest it in. Long term. I'll say that. I always invest in things that are long term. I don't play short term games. We're good? We're good. Why do so many dislike Andrew Tate? I'll make that the last question. People dislike him because he's a provocateur, he's very bombastic, and he also speaks the truth, which hurts when it's said that way. Wide grip overhead press, what does it work? Shoulders. This works the shoulders. It's just a wider angle for the shoulders. It can be contraindicated for people since it can be an uncomfortable pressing position for the acromioclavicular joint. So if you can do it, you can do it. If you can't, you can't. It's one of those things, neither good nor bad. Narrow grip's more tricep dominant. Anything that goes narrow is always going to be tricep dominant, just across the board. The more closer you bring your hands in, the more it's going to work the anterior deltoid and the triceps. The wider you go out, going to be more medial delt, upper chest, etc. Depends obviously upon the angle of pressing. So, it's you. Yeah, there you go, man. That's it. Answer the question. All right, people. Good talk. Talk to y'all again.